In this video, we'll look at how to train a machine learning model based on an existing data set. So this is great if you already have your own data and you would like to see what machine learning models you can train on that data that perform well and kind of gauge performance before you even commit to picking a platform or a full machine learning solution. If you don't have a data set, you can also import a pre-existing data set from Time Series Studio, which is what I'm going to do for simplicity today. So I'm going to pick the arc detection example here. So under anomaly detection, I go to arc detection and I click on download data set. And a browser window is already open to the location where it's saved, and this is what it is by default. And you get a zip file with a data set. So what we will do is extract it all under the same folder. And you will see there are two folders called test and train. And we'll see how those play into the model in just a little bit. So we go back to the Time Series Studio tool. We pick anomaly detection here, and we select AutoML project. We can give it a name, and we can pick a target. I'm going to pick the M6A156. You don't need to change the RAM and flash memory limitations. For great majority of applications, these models will be so small you will be surprised. So this plays in if you really have a hard limit you need to stay under, but otherwise, you can just go and select the sensor types. In our case, if you saw the data set was a one-channel data set, and it was looking at voltage. So I will pick voltage in one channel here. Uh, the selected sensor type is just really used for visualizing the data. You can pick a generic sensor category if you don't know what to pick or you don't really care. And it works just the same. In my case, I'll pick voltage because I know what it is. And once I add that one channel of voltage, I can confirm and create the project. Now, it's an anomaly detection task. So I'm prompted to input a data set for both the normal and abnormal case. So for the normal, I will click on plus to import new files. And I will go to the sample dataset folder by copying and pasting the address. Okay. And I first go to train because now we're in the training phase of the machine learning flow. And you'll see under the train folder, I have a train arc and a train normal. Again, I'm putting in a file for the dataset for the normal case, so I will pick train normal CSV. And all the data sets for Time Series Studio need to be in CSV file format, which is very easy to work with. You can create your own data in Excel or even fake your own data in Excel if you already have an idea of what you're looking for. So in my case, I pick the selected file. I can pick the delimiter, spaces by default, and I can already see the values in the file here. I click this top left checkbox to select all the data and then load it into my project. And you can immediately visualize that data. So this is an actual graph of one waveform of data from that file, and I can see I have 1,032 waveforms, and I can browse through them and see what they look like. And as expected, there could be some noise in that data, which is pretty common. And I can look at it in raw or spectral analysis. For example, I can do an FFT on that data and see what it looks like. Typically for time series data, raw is a great way to look at it, but those other views are useful when exploring the data sets. I will pick the data set for the anomaly case. So I go back to train and then train arc. and select all the data by selecting the top checkbox, load it into my project, and now I have an anomaly data set. And I can explore this data set too. Okay, and as you can see, there's still some noise going on, and it's the differences are fairly subtle. Okay, so it's not that straightforward to know exactly what the difference is. Okay, so this is where machine learning is useful because it can just spot the differences automatically for you. So once I have my two data sets, I check if the two classes are fairly balanced. It's important to get a good, accurate model. In this case, they're about 50-50% split, which is great. So I can move on to training that model. All I have to do is click Start Training. And you'll see an option here to select either CML, which stands for Classical Machine Learning, or DL, which stands for Deep Learning. You always want to start with classical machine learning and see if the models you get work for your data set, because classical machine learning models, again, are much smaller, run much faster, and there are only benefits to using classical machine learning if you can. Deep learning will be used if your data is so complex it's hard to find a model that works. And we'll enable quick search. That just enables going through models that train faster and doing a quicker search of different types of models. That's great for when just playing with the tool. For more advanced or more deep search of models, you can not enable that and look through more options. The train to validation ratio really means how many samples to set aside out of this data set to do validation on the models as they're trained. A typical 8:2 ratio is perfect, so you can leave that as is or adjust if needed. And for anomaly detection applications, you can actually enable if you want to do on-device learning as well. This option enables models to be fine-tuned on the device after they're deployed. I will not enable this option right now because I'm just creating a model without actually deploying it on the board at this time. I can click Start. And now EIQ Time Series Studio will actually look at all the classical machine learning models it knows and try to apply every one of them to my data set. And we'll start to train and then validate every one of those models and rank them based on performance for me. Now, training will start happening. And remember, this all runs on your local machine. Training is not happening in the cloud. All of these models get trained on your local machines. So performance will vary based on your machine's performance. I'm not running these on a particularly fast machine today, so it might be a little slower than usual, but you'll see the progress nonetheless. Typically, this model takes just minutes to train, and we'll see how long this one takes. And as you can see, it's already going through several models and listing them as they get trained in terms of balanced accuracy, RAM, and flash usage. Now the training completed, and on my machine it took just over 3 minutes to complete the training. And what AIQ Time Series Studio did in this time was look at all the known classical machine learning models that can be applied to this data and tested them out. So I have a list of the top 40 models that it tested, and here a graph of how the top models performed over time. So blue line is balanced accuracy, and I can see my last few models reached a balanced accuracy of almost 100%. And green line is RAM usage, which is just about 15 kilobytes of RAM, and flash usage is about 20 to 35 kilobytes of flash. So very small, lightweight models. Um, the list here, like I said, mentions all the models that were trained. The acronyms actually represent the type of model, so you might recognize some of these types of models, like support vector machines and k-means and such. If you're curious what they mean, the documentation tells you what those acronyms acronyms actually mean. But the beauty is you don't have to know anything about classical machine learning or what these models actually do, because the tool actually tries them out, applies them, and tests them for you. So you can just pick the one that seems to perform the best. Okay. And keep in mind, I let it finish training, but if at any time you want to stop the training, you can, and you can just explore the models that were trained up to that point. To the right, you'll see the important matrix or results, the confusion matrix. So to see if um, cases were correctly identified as normal or abnormal, and also per class results for anomaly and normal cases. Typically, the best performing model is selected by default, but if I wanted to see a different model, I can select it and see the results here to the right. You'll also notice an execution time here, and this assumes the model would run on a Cortex M33 running at 150 megahertz. So that's like an MCXN microcontroller, for example. So if you're using anything slower, this time would increase. But it's just a way to compare models side by side and to give you a rough idea of how fast these models could run. So this top performing model, for example, runs in about 136 milliseconds, okay? And that's actually fairly slow for some of these models. Um, so execution time is pretty fast and can enable pretty real-time applications. Next step would be to go to emulation, and that in machine learning terminology is actually the test phase. So in this phase, we pick a model or even several if we want. Okay, we select the models that we want to test. And so I can pick the top performer or even one that takes less flash, for example, and choose new emulation. And again, I need to provide a new data set. And it's very important in machine learning that the data set used for testing is unique from the data set used for training, so that we can validate if the model actually performs well with data it has never seen before. So I'll pick a data set for the normal case. I will go back to my um, data set, and I go into the test folder and choose test normal CSV. And for the anomaly case, I pick the test arc CSV. Delimiter is space, I know that already. So I click start, and Time Series Studio will automatically test these models against the new data that I provided. It only takes a few minutes for the test phase as well. And I can see for each of the models that were tested a test report. Accuracy per classes, confusion matrix, overall balanced accuracy, and I can look at the two models individually. There's also a report I can select if I click on the file, which summarizes the accuracy and the models that were tested, as well as the data sets and the file locations. So this is useful when comparing files side by side. And this is how we can actually see if we can train a model to work properly with a data set and what sort of performance we can expect from these models on our specific data case without even having hardware in hand or a full system ready. And it all took just a few minutes from start to finish.